Hi there, welcome to Coming Home. I'm your host, Dr.Onalee. It is my intention to help you fully let go of narcissists, avoidance, situationships, fully come home to yourself, and start to begin to prepare for your soulmate in God's timing. Today, I wanted to support you if you're going through a breakup, you went through a breakup a while ago, if you're still ruminating about an ex. What I invite you to do is to look at the benefits of the breakup. I am somebody who has gone through a lot of breakups in my life. From an early age, I was getting my heart broken or I was breaking hearts. I used to call myself a hopeless romantic. And of course, here it is. My purpose on this planet is to help people with love, to help people with relationships, the thing that I could talk about for hours and help all of my friends with and be the kind of therapist friend. Now I just get paid for it. And so this is my passion, this is my purpose, and I want to really share a lot of my processes with you. Of course, in my No More Narcissist program, and my Woman or Man in Power program, you get all of me. You get my full processes, my full healing, my full exercises, my full teachings. And so if you're interested in those, definitely make sure to check the show notes. And I have always a few options to do some one on one as you go through those. So all of that information is below. But just to share a little tidbit today on the benefits of your breakup. So, throughout a lot of relationships, I didn't used to do this, but it started to happen after I was in recovery. I really started to take an inventory of my part. One of the steps, the fourth step in a recovery program, is you take a searching and a fearless moral inventory of yourself. And anyone that you have a resentment towards, you have to see your part in it. And this is where most people struggle, most people relapse, go out and drink or use again, because it's so freaking hard to really see that when you have a justified resentment and anger towards somebody, it's very hard to see your part. And what I started to learn though was my part wasn't that I deserved the abuse, the physical, the mental, or the emotional abuse. My part was that I ignored the red flags. My part was that this person showed me exactly who they were, and for some reason, I still went on a second date with them. My part was that I kept entertaining it. My part was that I kept giving them the benefit of the doubt. My part was that I left the door open and allowed them to keep coming in and abusing me. It was not the abuse itself. It was not the things they said. It was not the things they did. The reason this is so key when you can find your part in the breakup is that you can see your power. If you are only a victim to your breakup, you will always just be a victim. That means you had no power, no control over the kind of relationship you were in and how they treated you. When you can see your part, AKA, for example, going on a second date with them after they were abusive to you, after they were condescending, after they were rude, after they pressured you into trying to do a first kiss when you were not ready, or sleep with them when you told them you didn't want to, and they kept pressuring you, and then you gave in. When we can find our part in it, that means we can change something about it. We can gather the wisdom that we gained and we can apply it moving forward in a next relationship. So, for example, if you're then trying to date again and a red flag comes up, you have some new wisdom and discernment from a previous relationship, and you know what happens when you ignore your intuition, you ignore the red flag. So you will be in your power because you will then not go on a second date with them, or you won't get into a relationship. You will have learned the lessons. So, in Women in Power, I did a 10-step process. It was my exact process of A to Z, what I did to fully process a breakup from the beginning it happened to the end of it, where all the feelings and all the emotions were completely cleared and gone. And so, what I'm very big on is finding the gifts of the breakup. So, the benefits of the breakup, for example, one of my breakups, we were supposed to go on a week-long trip, and we broke up a few weeks before that. So obviously, I was upset. I was hurt. I felt a little bit blindsided by it. I wasn't fully in love with this person, if I was honest with myself when I took the inventory, but I still was pretty much all in this relationship. I didn't have thoughts of breaking up. I did get an intuition, though, the day before he, like, basically broke up with me, is that he was going to break up with me. I never had that thought before. So that's a story for another day of our intuition. But it had me look at, okay, God, I was excited about this trip. I gave it my all in this relationship. I prayed over it every day. I asked God's guidance and will for it every day. Like I really invited God into this relationship. And a gift God gave me to help me heal the closing of this breakup was to see what all the gifts were after this relationship ended, but especially the week where we were supposed to be together. And so there were coffee dates that I went on. I went on a romantic date with a great man. I was asked to chair a meeting for a group of people for a whole month. I met up with some friends. I went to certain meetings. I recorded podcasts. I picked up shifts at the chiropractic office and many more things. But I really wanted to look at why I needed to be here and not on that trip with this person. How was God using me here? And things that wouldn't have happened, or I wouldn't have experienced, or I wouldn't have been able to support if I had gone on that trip. Does that mean I wasn't sad about going on the trip? No, not necessarily, but I wanted to find purpose in it. I think when we go through a breakup or we have hurt feelings of a relationship ending and how it ended, we're usually just really sitting in the hurt, the disappointment, the frustration. Maybe we're even ruminating of should we have done things differently? Was I being too sensitive? Was I being too harsh? Maybe I shouldn't have said that thing and the breakup wouldn't have happened. Instead of really extracting the gifts, to me, the healing process, especially around that relationship, was I really wanted to see what were the gifts of this relationship. So, for example, the gifts of that relationship for me was that I got closer with my girlfriends. This person actually had a lot of guy friends and he would be with his friends a lot. And I, at the time, had a lot of girlfriends, but they were mainly long distance or we saw each other only once in a while. And so I made a conscious effort to really meet more girlfriends, especially in recovery. I started going to more women's meetings and connecting with a whole lot of women. I take a meeting into the detox center and I have to find speakers. And I started bringing in female speakers and we started to become friends. I would meet them for coffee and just be in more connection with women. And even some of my other friends, I started to call them more and hang out with them more. This person also led me to getting a therapist. He actually did have a therapist and he invited me to get one through the same company. So that was really healing. He also helped me heal a lot of my triggers and my wounds around jealousy and insecurity that were triggered from the beginning of our relationship and the story not being the way that I had romanticized or fantasized. It didn't go that way. And so I had to do a lot of healing work on that. So I did a lot of rapid resolution therapy and mind clearing. That was really helpful for me. It led me to deeper connection and getting closer with God and with prayer. I ended up getting a new sponsor. So many beautiful things happened from being in this relationship. And it was not a waste. Romantic relationships, for the most part, are supposed to end. It's only one or very rare that we have a lifelong connection with somebody. Relationships are meant to help us grow in love, evolve as the greatest, most powerful versions of ourselves, heal our triggers and our wounds so that we can be secure. And to me, most importantly, my belief is to get closer to God. So, relationships to me bring me closer to God, and they really reveal to me and highlight and show me where I have been disconnected from God. Where do I not trust God? Where am I making a man more powerful than God or anything more powerful than God? God to me has to be the center of it all. No human, no man is my God. And relationships will do that. They will show you exactly where you put all of your power and all of your approval into somebody else. This person also taught me we never really argued. We never fought. We never raised our voices. There were no names being called. We had one little thing right before we broke up. I felt sensitive and offended of a suggestion that he had, which was not wrong of him. And I even told him that, but it made me feel like he didn't fully believe in my dreams, my business, my vision, because I had just shared that with him. And then I felt he counteracted it with suggesting something else that he knew I really didn't want to do in order to bring in more abundance. And that really hurt me. And I got closed off, and we communicated about it, but we broke up really shortly after. But most of my relationships, especially my adult years, were very narcissistic. I attracted a lot of men and was attracted to, let me say my power is that I was attracted to these kind of people who would gaslight me. I would experience that word salad. The goalpost would always move and it was never enough. I would be exhausted. I would be drained. They would call me names, horrible names. They would make comments about my appearance and remind me that I'm not good enough. They would raise their voice. They would yell at me. And none of that occurred in this relationship. So, something I evaluated when I went through the 10-step process was wow, I've come so far. The kind of man I'm attracting is a whole new caliber. So, although he isn't it, he's incredibly close. Or I've made so much progress with the kind of man that I allow in. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful we didn't fight. I'm grateful we didn't argue. I'm grateful there wasn't any of that nastiness. And the way we ended, although it was a shock and a bit of a blindside and it did hurt me, it still was amicable. And there was none of that back and forth, which I've had a pattern for years and years and years of we'd break up, it would be heightened, some time would cool down, and either I would reach back out or they would reach back out and we would get back together. That wasn't the experience. And to me, that was huge for my healing, for my self confidence. That once I was the one who officially was like, I am done. When I said I was done, I knew I meant it in that moment. I think before I've said I am done, but I didn't really want to be done. I wanted them to change my mind. I got to the point where I declared that I was done and there's nothing that this person could say or do to change my mind or sway me out of it. And to me, that was everything. That was absolutely everything for me to fully make this decision and to stand by it and to not allow the craziness or more time to settle down to change my mind. And then I really looked at what pattern did I entertain in this relationship? What red flag did I ignore? Where did I overly give the benefit of the doubt? Where did I justify? Where did I rationalize? Where did I talk myself into making it work? How was this relationship not even fully what I wanted? For example, this person was a little bit more serious. He was kind to me, absolutely, but we didn't really laugh together. We didn't really have that in love kind of romantic feelings. You know, the sex was great, I will give it that. But there wasn't really like the cuddling and the touching and the sweet words and it's just some things I really need as a very sensual, romantic kind of woman that wasn't there. That in love, so excited to see them, so excited to get ready. I loved when they would come over, but it wasn't that like I'm really excited to see them. Can't wait to see them. I want to look beautiful for them. That just aspect wasn't there. Is that make or break it? I don't know. But if I'm evaluating a breakup, I can at least bring that to the party. So when I then took an honest look and an honest inventory of all the red flags, all of the lessons, all of the gifts, then I really went ahead and I got even more clear. So, my friend who has supported me in relationships, another coach, mentor, she had planted a seed for me even before we broke up, but it really landed. It stuck with me. And she had said, if an agreement ends with somebody, it's only good news because new agreements are coming in. There's so many agreements that it could be possible. And that gave me hope to realize because I think I've gone through so many breakups. And before, when I was insecure and I didn't really know my worth and my beauty and my value, and just from previous experience, for example, in high school, even getting my heart broken and him choosing another girl over me, I didn't have a backup really. I didn't have other men pursuing me or choosing me. And it made me feel really alone, almost like a little girl like alone on the playground watching people play and have friends and I'm just all by myself. And so as an adult woman, for me who now is secure and confident and powerful and knows there's plenty of fish in the sea, I really realized I'm not going to be hung up on one man who doesn't want to be with me or it doesn't work out. I trust that there would be plenty. It doesn't mean I have to go run to the next one, but there's no shortage. And I think that became a difference in my breakups in my adult years. I think sometimes when we break up with someone, especially if it's been a while, sometimes we feel like there's a shortage, but there's not. There's really not. There's billions and billions of people on this planet, hundreds, thousands around you. It's not even about that. So to me, I let go of this feeling of I'm so alone now that we broke up, now that we're not together. And I actually really started to trust and to get excited. Oh my gosh, there's now so much potential of the agreement that's going to come in that's next. And I declared I want an agreement that is more love equals joy, love equals God. For so long, I'd been healing and learning my lessons and evolving as a soul from love equals pain, love equals abandonment, love equals betrayal, love equals disappointment, love equals the other shoe drops. And so that would be my experience of love. But I took it up in frequency and wanted higher agreements where my love just is love. Love is joy. Love is peace. Love is ease. Love is grace. I wanted to learn through much easier, softer kind of ways and experiences. And so we can declare that. We don't need to keep learning through struggle and strife, although very powerful, although it shapes our character and it shapes our faith. I think it would be a disservice, in my opinion, to skip those phases. But we don't have to keep learning through it. It doesn't need to be such extreme lessons. And so overall, I just really honored the relationship. I really released all my resentments towards this person too. I ended up writing him a letter and I didn't mail it, but I put it into the mail. And so I just released it. I cleared it. I let it go. I forgave him. I thanked him. I set him free. I set myself free. I cleared the energy. And to me, this is the final piece. And I think it's just so important. I really, really, really forgave him. And what forgiveness means, because I have some clients wrestle with this sometimes. For me, what forgiveness means is I'm turning it over to God. I'm not going to keep making the human wrong. I'm going to trust God. So I could be mad here that I felt blindsided by this breakup, but to me, that's relying on my strength and my willpower saying, I know better. I know better than God. So when I zoom out and I forgive, I actually say, you know what? I'm not going to make you so responsible for the hurt that was just caused and for your choice and decision to not want to be with me, because I'm actually going to zoom out and I'm actually going to really trust that God is protecting me and orchestrating this all. And if it was good enough for God, then it was good enough. If it was good enough for God to have you basically break up with me or pull away and distance and behave the way that you did, then I'm going to trust God knows what he's doing. And he's the one who's orchestrating your behavior to protect me. So I stop making them so wrong and I start trusting God. Because when we're a lack of forgiveness is, I can't believe you broke up with me. I can't believe you cheated on me. I can't believe you moved out. But what if that was the exact thing that God needed to get your attention or to get you to finally close the door on an unhealthy or an incorrect relationship? When my partner moved out on me, we lived together. I came home one day and he was smoking weed on the porch and told me he's moving out. And I asked when, and he said he already did it behind my back while I was at my internship. I could sit there and very justifiably be angry and feel hurt and feel completely blindsided again. But to me, I forgave him. Who am I to say that that was wrong? What if that was the greatest gift? What if that showed me that 4 years of this person trying to reach out, I'm never going to let them back in because they're the kind that would move out on their family? What if that was the exact gesture and the exact way and the exact timing that he needed to do that was all divinely perfect in order to protect me and to close out our agreement? I stopped making him so wrong and I actually started to find the gratitude and I was grateful he did it in the exact way that he did it because that was what I needed to close the door and keep it closed, which was the greatest blessing. I'm so grateful beyond belief that I did not end up with this person. So grateful. God did for me what I could not do. But if I'm holding on to all that anger towards him, I have not made peace and am not trusting God. So I'm going to talk more about forgiveness because it's been coming up for some of my clients. I want to walk you through a process of forgiveness And I want to take you through a forgiveness meditation. But right now, we're opening the door to forgiveness because to me, forgiveness is I stop making other people more powerful than God. Forgiveness, to me, in my opinion, is literally just making God more powerful than any other human and trusting God. So, more on that in the next one or the upcoming ones. If you would like to join any of the programs I mentioned, again, go into the show notes, message me on Instagram at Dr.Onalee, see what's in my link in bio. But one I really do want to talk to you about because I think it's the best offer that I really do have is my 6 session special with me. So you can do 6 30-minute one-to-one sessions. You'll have 3 months to use them. You could do them 6 weeks in a row or whenever I have availability, or you can break them up or use them as needed. But the intention is for you to fully heal and close out from these patterns with narcissists and avoidance and situationships. And if you're in an unhealthy relationship that feels like a lackless love kind of situation, my intention is to help you really come home to yourself and love yourself, and then eventually either deepen the love that you're in or know if it's time to go or time to attract your soulmate. So these sessions, doing some one to one work is really, really powerful. So I'm going to leave some more information in there. But yeah, just continue to stay plugged in, continue to keep praying, continue to keep surrendering, and so much more content, so much more good news is coming your way. I'll be talking to you soon.